Picture this. You're on the bus, minding your own business, when suddenly someone's outfit, their conversation, or even their snack choices trigger an instant, unbidden opinion in your head. Sound familiar? We all silently judge strangers, but where's the line between casual observation and outright hypocrisy? Join me as I confess my own public transport judgments and wrestle with the ethics of it all. Before we continue, let me know where you're listening from. And thank you, truly, for taking the time to hear my story. Don't lie, you do it too. We all judge. Somehow, when we're sitting shoulder to shoulder with strangers on a crowded bus or train, our brains can't help it. We start creating little stories about the people around us, their shoes, their posture, their playlists leaking through cheap earbuds. And me? I've become a professional at it. I don't mean to. I don't wake up in the morning and think, yes, today I'll silently roast commuters in my head. But once I'm on public transport, surrounded by this accidental community of strangers, it happens. And I hate to admit it, but some days those judgments aren't kind. There was this one woman, for example. She sat across from me wearing what can only be described as neon chaos. Lime green leggings, an orange sequined sweater, and shoes that looked like they were stolen from a 70s disco floor. My first thought was, does she own a mirror? But then, just as quickly, another thought crept in. Or maybe she's the bravest person in this bus, someone who dresses exactly how she feels without apology. For a moment, I envied her, because under the fluorescent bus lights, I sat there in my muted grays and blacks, blending in, while she glowed like a firecracker. Judgment turned into admiration. Another time, I rolled my eyes at a man on speakerphone. His voice was booming, his conversation spilling into every corner of the bus. Everyone exchanged those annoyed glances, a silent chorus of, "Seriously, dude?" But then I caught a piece of what he was saying. "Yes, Mama, I'll bring soup. Don't worry, I'll stay tonight so you're not alone." Suddenly, the noise wasn't arrogance, it was love. He wasn't being inconsiderate, he was being a son. And I sat there, ashamed of how quickly I had cast him as the villain in my little commuter drama. And then there was the kid, teenager, hoodie up, blasting music so loud through his headphones that I could hear every word. I judged him instantly. Another disrespectful kid who thinks the world is his concert. But as the bus jolted to a stop, his phone slipped from his lap, and I caught a glimpse of the screen. The playlist wasn't hip-hop or rock, it was lullabies, soft, soothing songs you'd play for a baby. He noticed me noticing and gave a sheepish smile. "My sister," he said, almost whispering. "She's 2. Helps me practice for when I put her to sleep." And just like that, the story I'd written about him crumbled. That's the thing about judgment. It's fast, ruthless, lazy. We see the tip of the iceberg and think we know the whole story. But beneath every neon sweater, every loud phone call, every too loud playlist, there's a depth we can't see. And the truth is, sometimes I feel like an awful person for doing it. Am I the asshole for judging strangers on public transport? Am I really hurting anyone if the judgment stays in my head? Or is the act itself, the assumption, the dismissal already a kind of cruelty? I wrestle with it more than I'd like to admit. Part of me argues it's harmless. After all, don't we all make snap decisions? Isn't it survival in some sense, this need to categorize the world quickly? But another part of me knows better, knows that each judgment is like closing a door before I even try the handle, knows that every time I roll my eyes, I shrink the possibility of connection, of empathy, of simply appreciating the vast, messy diversity of humanity crammed into this moving metal box. Because public transport is more than just a commute. It's a cross-section of life itself. One rainy evening, I learned that lesson the hard way. The bus was packed, everyone damp and irritable. I noticed an older man sitting near the back, muttering to himself, his clothes disheveled, his hands trembling. I judged him instantly. Drunk. Crazy. Just another burden society has to carry. But when a little girl nearby started crying, terrified of the thunder outside, that same man pulled something from his pocket. A tiny, worn puppet. He slipped it on his hand and began making silly voices, goofy movements, until the girl's sobs turned into giggles. And for the rest of the ride, he kept her smiling. I sat there in silence, ashamed. Ashamed of my arrogance, ashamed of my lack of imagination, ashamed that I had been so quick to condemn the very person who was carrying light in the storm. That moment changed me. Now, whenever I catch myself slipping into judgment, I try something different. I reframe it. Instead of assuming the worst, I imagine a kinder backstory. That woman in neon, maybe she just got a promotion and wanted to celebrate with color. That man on the phone, maybe he's holding his family together by sheer willpower. That kid blasting music, maybe it's not for him at all. Maybe it's for the little sister who looks up to him. I don't always get it right. Sometimes the judgments still sneak in. But at least now I pause. I give people the benefit of possibility. Because the truth is, we'll never know the full story of the strangers around us, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to imagine one that gives them dignity. So here I am confessing to you, yes, I judge strangers on public transport, but I'm trying, slowly, imperfectly, to turn those judgments into empathy. And maybe that's the lesson, that instead of closing doors with our assumptions, we open windows with our imagination, that instead of condemning, we choose curiosity. Because at the end of the day, the people sitting around us aren't background characters. They're main characters in their own stories, ones we'll never fully read. And maybe, just maybe, the world would be gentler if we remembered that. So I'll leave you with this question. What about you? When you're on the bus or train, do you silently judge the strangers around you? And do you ever feel guilty about it later? Because if I'm the asshole for doing it, at least I know I'm not alone. Thank you for listening to my story.